Compass and CoStar both just sued Zillow in federal court, 6 days apart. The complaint says that Zillow forces every home for sale onto its platform within 24 hours or it bans it forever. Here's the full story and how to protect your next real estate transaction.
Imagine spending $380,000 on a house and unknowingly paying an extra $10,000 to $12,000 to an agent you never hired, simply because your listing appeared on Zillow. Not a fee you agreed to in a separate contract, not a line you knowingly signed. A commission built into the sale price the moment your home entered the platform that controls where 227 million monthly searches begin. The buyer's agent who reached your buyer did not arrive through your choice. They arrived through Zillow's premier agent system, where agents pay the platform monthly fees to intercept buyer calls on other agents' listings. Where agents pay the platform monthly fees to intercept buyer calls on other agents' listings. You paid their commission through the price your buyer offered. Your buyer paid it through the purchase price without knowing it was negotiable. Nearly 500,000 American homeowners filed claims in the NAR lawsuit with the same story. They funded an agent they never selected through a mechanism they never saw because listing on the platform that dominates home search made it structurally unavoidable. That hidden fee has now gone to federal litigation. Here is what the rest of this video covers: what the NAR settlement actually changed, and why the cartel rebuilt around it, how the $24,000 toll was collected on every home in America, the 2010 countrywide case that shows where this enforcement sequence ends and what every buyer and seller can do before their next transaction. Zillow is not a listing service. It is an advertising platform. In 2023, Zillow earned $1.4 billion from its premier agent program alone, a system where agents pay monthly fees to have their contact information displayed on listings in specific zip codes. When you click Contact Agent on a Zillow listing, you are frequently reaching whoever paid the most to appear there, not the agent who represents the seller. The listing agent whose property you found may not even know their listing is being used to generate leads for a competitor. That is not a side effect of the business. It is the revenue model. Zillow's total revenue in 2024 exceeded $2 billion. The majority came from agents paying to intercept buyers who were already looking at other agents' listings. The service that appears to help you find homes is primarily designed to connect you with agents who paid Zillow. On May 8th, 2026, Compass, the nation's largest residential real estate brokerage, terminated every direct listing feed it had with Zillow. Not one market, not one region, nationwide. Every brokerage entity, every subsidiary, every data connection severed in a single day. 4 days later, Zillow filed a federal antitrust lawsuit in the Northern District of Illinois against Compass and the Midwest Real Estate Data MLS, the regional listing database that connects agents across the Chicago market, invoking the Sherman Act, the federal antitrust law, and seeking an injunction. The same week, CoStar Group, the dominant commercial real estate data company, filed an amended copyright complaint in federal court with an updated number: 53,733 photographs, with an updated number: 53,733 photographs, 53,733 watermarked images, displayed more than 250,000 times across Zillow's platform to build a rental segment that generated $183 million in a single quarter. 3 federal legal actions, 2 weeks, 1 platform. The named executives across all 3 actions, Robert Refkin, CEO of Compass, personally contacted at least 8 regional multiple listing services and urged them to discipline Zillow. Not compete, discipline. That is the language in the federal filing. Errol Samuelson, Zillow's chief industry development officer, went on record. MRED decided to work with the largest broker in their market and skew the rules in a way that actually hurts consumers and hurts competition. Rebecca Jensen, CEO of MRED, also chairs the board of MLS Grid, the data access gateway that feeds listing information to platforms like Zillow. Andy Florence, CEO of CoStar Group, called Zillow's use of tens of thousands of CoStar's copyrighted photographs nothing short of outrageous. 4 named executives, 3 federal actions, 14 days. On March 15th, 2024, the National Association of Realtors signed the settlement, the $418 million Sitzer-Burnett settlement. The original jury verdict was $1.78 billion, trebled. That was $5.3 billion in exposure. NAR settled rather than face it. Nearly 500,000 claims have been filed, each one representing a household that paid that $20,000 to $24,000 toll. Each one representing a household that paid that $20,000 to $24,000 toll. Total industry settlements now exceed $700 million. 4 rule changes came out of that settlement. First, the MLS broker compensation field is prohibited. Second, a written buyer representation agreement is required before any showing. Third, no steering based on commission offered. Fourth, off MLS compensation is allowed through the purchase agreement.
Hey everyone, really quick, just to jump in, if you want to buy a house, refinance a house, buy rentals, I put together 2 crazy courses about mortgages for investors and homeowners. It'll blow your mind. You'll walk away like a rock star. You'll know every loan product out there, how to save thousands at closing, and how to save tens of thousands by getting better rates. Links down below. Now let's get back to the video.
Those 4 changes cracked the structural foundation that held the commission system together for 40 years. The cartel rebuilt its enforcement structure before most participants understood what the new rules said. In January 2026, Compass acquired Anywhere Real Estate for $4.2 billion, bringing Coldwell Banker, Corcoran, and Sotheby's International Realty under one roof and creating the largest residential brokerage on the planet. The FTC and DOJ did not block it. Compass now had the mass to fight. In April 2025, Zillow rolled out its listing access standards, with enforcement live June 30th. Any listing publicly marketed off the MLS before appearing on Zillow faces a strike system. 3 strikes, permanent block. An internal Zillow strategy document revealed during court proceedings used the word punish. Compass filed a 60-page antitrust complaint in June 2025. The court denied the preliminary injunction in February 2026, and Compass dismissed the case in March. In April 2026, Compass and MRED announced a partnership to take the private listing network nationwide. On May 6th, MOS Grid threatened to cut access. On May 8th, Compass cut the feeds. On May 12th, Zillow sued. The cartel cracked open on both sides simultaneously. The commission line on your closing statement is not a service charge. It is the toll the cartel collected for letting your house exist in their search results. The median U.S. home price as of March 2026 is $408,800. At 5% commission, that is $20,440. At 6%, $24,528 per transaction. That money flowed through the MLS compensation field for decades. The listing agent offered a split to the buyer's agent, and the buyer never saw the number. It was baked into the sale price. That field is now prohibited. The toll was collected anyway through the rebuilt enforcement structure the federal lawsuits are now challenging. 53,733 photographs were used to populate rental listings, train algorithms, and build a platform that generated $183 million in rentals revenue in Q1, up 42% year over year per CoStar's amended complaint. An internal Zillow document from December 2024 acknowledged the risk of a CoStar lawsuit. They proceeded anyway. Buyer-side settlements have now exceeded $150 million across multiple actions. The money is moving in one direction, and it is not toward the seller who paid the commission. The 2010 Countrywide case is the historical mirror. Private plaintiffs established the conduct. Federal enforcement followed with named executive accountability and civil penalties reaching $67.5 million. Zillow's internal December 2024 document confirming they proceeded with the CoStar risk known mirrors exactly the documents that brought Mozillow's conduct into the record. The residential real estate platform industry is at the private plaintiff stage of that sequence right now. What the lawsuit filings did not put in the headline. On June 20th, 2024, the Department of Justice Antitrust Division filed an amicus brief in the prior Rex versus Zillow case. Federal prosecutors already wrote the brief, already named the conduct, and were waiting for the private plaintiffs to move first. Compass moved, CoStar moved. 3 simultaneous federal proceedings have now established the conduct that brief was written to address. The enforcement step follows private plaintiff movement every time. Before your next transaction, here is what the settlement actually gave you that most agents will not volunteer. The written buyer representation agreement must be presented before any showing. It must specify the fee in writing before the first tour. That fee can be a flat dollar amount, not just a percentage. And it is negotiable. The settlement text says so explicitly. If an agent tells you the fee is non-negotiable, you have the language to push back before any attachment to a property has formed. Ask specifically about the off-MLS seller concession path. A seller can offer a buyer-agent commission concession directly through the purchase agreement rather than advertising it in the MLS compensation field. This removes the commission from Zillow's enforcement window entirely. If your listing agent does not raise this option when structuring your listing strategy, you have the specific rule to cite when you raise it yourself. Before calling on any Zillow listing, know that the contact displayed is frequently a premier agent who paid Zillow for that placement. Ask directly, are you the listing agent? That single question determines whose financial interests are being served in the conversation. Before signing any listing agreement, pull the same property on 3 platforms, on Zillow, on Compass, and on homes.com. If it appears differently across those 3 platforms with different photo counts or windows, you are inside the gatekeeper structure. The federal lawsuits are challenging in real time. Screenshot it, save the date. That documentation mirrors exactly the evidence both federal lawsuits are built on. The commission on your closing statement was never meant to be understood. It was designed to be accepted. $20,000 to $24,000 moved through a field, split between agents on both sides, and baked into the sale price before any buyer calculated what they were actually paying. The settlement changed the rules. The cartel rebuilt around them within months. That cycle will run again. 3 federal proceedings are on the docket right now. The DOJ brief was already written before either Compass or CoStar filed. The enforcement window is open, and it will not stay open forever. The information gap that made the toll invisible for 40 years closed the day the settlement text became public. The rules exist. The tools are in the settlement. The only thing standing between you and using them is whether you know they are available. You do now. Economic Ninja is out.